WFM 91.7.
Welcome once again to The Big Question on WFM 91.7. You are welcome on The Big Question today. The question we need to answer on the program this afternoon is, has the family lost the hold on children? Has the family lost the hold on children? The family is the first social group a child belongs to, and the family determines a lot of factors about how a child will turn out. In Nigeria, we have a whole lot of moral values that we hold in high esteem, and these values are passed on from generation to generation. Recent happenings makes us wonder if the family still has a hold on children. We see a lot of children and youths who go about carelessly with words and actions, bullies everywhere, and so many defiant children to deal with. Even teachers are tired of managing some of these children because, of course, when the foundation is weak, what can the teachers build on? So we ask again the big question, has the family lost its hold on children? On the program today, I have a special guest with me. I have a very on the program, and the special guest I have with me on the program is Okemote Olori, a convener, Transformational Parenting Network and parenting coach, the convener of Transformational Parenting Network and parenting coach. Okemote Olori is on the program with me this afternoon, and I want to welcome you to the program. Hello, can you hear me? It's
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on The Big Question. Thank you. We really do appreciate you taking time out to be on the program with us. Thank you. So the big question is, has the family lost the hold on the children? You do have the opportunity to call in. The phone line you can call on is 07000 917 917, 07000 917 917. You can also send a text or WhatsApp message to 070 317 56537, 070 317 56537. You can also send your questions or share your opinions on our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram at WFM 917. You can also listen live at www.wfm917.com. Yes, again, my special guest, you are welcome. Let us start with this right here. Do you think that our moral values as society are still what they used to be? If you compare to the way it was then to now, our moral values as society, do you think it is what they used to be?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a big question indeed. If we've really lost it, yes. I will answer that question two ways: yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, being that. Let me begin with the no. Do I think our moral values as society are still what they used to be? No, they are not, because we have discovered that society today, people choose to do whatever they want to do, the way they feel, the way they think. Nowadays, truth is subjective and objective. People just want to reason the way they think it is. And too many things have led to it. The issue of morality, that train has never been static. So the children of these days, the Gen Zs or whatever they call them, and whatever we decided to label them, the millenniums, they've come to this level where they see everything as a right. Everyone is fighting for equality. Everyone is fighting for fairness. Parents, authorities, religious bodies, many of us have come to a place where our moral standard and our moral values are being questioned. So the myths that surrounded some of those values we built, years back where we grew up with, those myths are being demystified. So now, when you say something, someone will have to question you to know if your morals or the values you claim that you're inculcating in the children or teaching in society, if you are a practice or if you're practicing the same values that you're trying to teach. So a lot of things are being questioned, a lot of things are being brought to the fore, a lot of things are being brought to the fore, questioned. Many of the strategies are not working anymore. So people really want to do things the way they feel. So when you tell a child or you teach someone about moral values, like our leaders, we talk about being elders. Elders are right, but we find the issue of corruption being so heavy. So what is right about being an elder?
Okay.
So we well as elders to also inculcate those values that we've been talking about. We've been practicing do what I say and don't do what I do. So we are right now finding ourselves in a society where those moral values don't work anymore. Even when they are real, they're being questioned. They're being passed through tests to know if morality is a word that should be objective or subjective.
Thank you very much. Well answered. Well answered. Yes, we're still talking about if the family still has a hold on the children. Has the family lost the hold on the children? That is a big question indeed. A big question indeed. Moving right along, do you think that parents being too liberal can play a huge role in the way some children have turned out?
Okay, the question is if parents play a big role, or being liberal,
yes,
play a big role in the way children have turned out.
Yes.
Now, the answer is still yes or no, because you see, one thing about parenting and how things turn out cannot be subjected to one way or one way fix all. No, it is not possible. Now, there's children that are brought up with a liberal minds from those kind of parents, and some of them actually turned out terrible. In this present time where we are, yes, it is a problem, because parents are bringing up their children with those liberal values, those liberal attitude, those liberal mannerism. Okay, because I went through a tough time, my parents were tough, my parents were strict, I'm going to bring up my children with an open mind. We're exposed to, all manner of parenting advice and practices. Now, we forget that liberal parenting without discipline, and inculcating the right values, of course, will lead a child astray. I'm a Christian, and my Bible tells me that a child left alone will bring shame and disgrace to the family. So if you want to be liberal, yes, there are values that go with liberality. Of course, some of us were brought up by very strict parents, whereby those things affected us one way or the other.
Yes. Now,
some children turned out to be menace to society, despite the fact that they were brought up strictly in an authoritarian way. From a lot of things, they turned out terrible. Some turned out well. Some children brought up with liberal parents were taught how to be empathic. They taught about values of empathy.
Yes.
They were taught open-mindedness. They were taught values of how to treat others with respect. Yes, those were liberal. They were not beating or forced, but those values were taught. So if you teach your child without the right values and you say you're practicing liberality in parenting, you're leading that child astray. And that's the product of what we are seeing now, where children in this age and time are the most disrespectful that I've ever seen in my life. Because the parents you're not available. You're not there to teach the values. And then you come and you're teaching, let me use the word a lot of people say we are African parents. There's something good in the African culture. When you don't teach those children the culture, the values, you see a child wake up in the morning and will not greet the parents. They can't even, okay, if let's say in your family is hello, even the hello, the children can say it. Which actually in African culture, hello is disrespectful. It's better to say good morning, daddy, good morning, mommy, than say hello. But you see a lot of parents practice these things, and they think they're being civilized, they're being Western. No, even the Western culture, check it out, they're beginning to send their children to learn some of the values They teach their children respect. They teach their children confidence in a proper way. So we are learning some of these things that we're not learning them properly. Be available to teach your children, to correct, to nurture, and then practice being liberal. Then we will have it right and correct. But if you're practicing it without putting the right punishment, without putting the right things in place, those children will never turn out well.
Okay, thank you. Now, there's a saying that says it takes a village to raise a child. Do you believe the same way? Or do you think that's right?
I believe it, but that is not what is obtainable right now. And there are many reasons that attribute to that not being attainable. That is the question of it takes a community to raise a child. I believe in it.
Yes.
But we have issues of insecurity right now.
Yes.
A lot of people have terrible experiences to share. So that's why they don't want other people involved in their parenting.
Yes.
Now, everything has its advantages and disadvantages. You know, before, if you're a parent and you're not home and something is happening or your child is misbehaving, someone is ready to call that child to order. So you can trust your neighbors. But when a case where you know the mental health of your child and you have a particular style, values, and principles in your home on how to talk and address people, and probably you put those things in place that even when you're correcting me or admonishing me, you do it with consciousness of the words, the kind of words you use. No, so if I happen not to be available, and then you as a teacher, a friend, a neighbor, my mother, my sisters, you come from that point of view that you need to say it the way it is without any hoot to how the child feels, then you are not helping me because you're damaging my child. You're hurting my child. You're not using the same value and principles that I know, that I think is best to raise my child. So that is a problem. But honestly, if we can do it right, if everyone can be empathetic to the children, if everyone can have the same values and principles, and of course, we're all on the same page, knowing that parenting is for the good of the child, which in turn, the good of the society, then of course, we can all work together to raise everyone. We can work together. But you see, the predators are there who use their own strategy to want to. They come in the face of, oh, I'm helping. I love you, and there they are abusing your children.
Yes.
In a way you're not there. Parents come in from making you feel like, oh, you're not a good parent. They know better. They raised you, and they want to use the same method they used in those days to raise your child. There they are, adding another damage for you. You know, so many factors are responsible. So except you create the enabling environment, the right environment, the people around you bear the same values, then community can help you. But if it is not, then it defeats that saying that it takes a community to raise a child. But I really do believe in it. And so that's why even in my own parenting, I try to put people around my children who will help, no matter how far they are. No matter where they are, I look for the right people that will be in the lives of my children, so that when I'm not there and they seem to do things or they need help, they can actually go to these people for help, for counsel, because they share the same values and principles with me. So we must learn to see how we can treat others with respect, help others, so that in turn, when we are not there, they will show the same, reciprocate the same respect and treatment we're giving to them, to our children.
Thank you very much. Now, when it comes to parents and disciplining their children, do you think if a parent or if the two parents actually differ on a particular way of disciplining their children, it might actually cause a lot of indiscipline?
Oh, it does. When parents are not on the same page, it does affect the child. It does. It affects the child. But hold on. Why would parents bring children into this world and not discuss the values and the principles with which they will raise their children? It's something that from the minute I meet the other partner and I say, I love you, we should start discussing how do we raise our children? How many children do we want to have? What names do we give them? Even if you don't discuss them, maybe you're blinded or too engrossed in each other. The minute I come and say, doctor says I'm pregnant, I say, congratulations, we should start planning.
You know, a parent can feel that a parent can be very, very strong on corporal punishments, beating a child, while the other parents might not want that at all.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Some parents are really very strong on discipline by beating or corporal punishment. While some, because of their own experience or where they're coming from or from study about the children of this Gen Z and millennial times, they know that there's more to do, more of talking, more of connecting, more of communication, more of relating. Yes, those things are there. That's why I said these things should be discussed. We should come to an agreement. What do we do that would be best? You know, I will take myself an example. I'm somebody that, because I am the way I was brought up, I've read, I'm in this ministry of children and parenting and nurturing. Before I started raising my children, I started working with children. And then I went ahead, I studied things like psychology ever before while I was in the university. So these things form my perspective and attitude to life, not about where I was, how I was raised. Because I was raised from this corporal punishment. You do the thing, you pay, even before you do the thing, you pay a price so that you remember not to do it. You know, so that was how I was brought up. But this age and time, we've seen that there are a lot of damages, hurt, pain, inflicted on children that were raised like that. Either psychological torture, mental abuse, or physical abuse. It's not working in this age and generation. Research has that children brought up that way are more rebellious than children that are spoken to in a humane point of view. So it affects the child because when daddy says one, mommy says another, you create such discrepancy in discipline in your home.
Yes.
So you have the bad cop and you have the good cop kind of parenting.
Yes.
So who should I follow? When the children, and it also affects the relationship of both parents because we're not on the same book. So when daddy says no, the child goes to mommy. Mommy will say yes. What do you think that child will grow up to be? The child will grow up to be a child who will negotiate his with the other. He wants something, he will go to daddy. He wants this thing, you know, mommy will bend, I can bend mommy's hand. So as parents, we must learn to agree to disagree. We must have discussion. And for me, my husband is very strong on certain things. What I do is I don't say anything at that moment. When he's done with the children and we are alone, I'll say, with the way you answered that child wasn't really good. I will try to do damage control, but I also make him to learn and understand that this is the effect of what he's doing. And also he comes to me and says, your liberal attitude, this is the effect of it. So we must find a ground, you know, where to agree. And also sometimes as parents, we should try to throw our eyes away sometimes because children actually need some of those toughness. But as far as it's not damaging the child's esteem or hurting the child in a way that the child becomes a deviant, I think we can find a common ground as parents.
Thank you. Yes, for the sake of the child. Thank you very much. My special guest is Okemote Olori, convener of Transformational Parenting Network, and she's also a parenting coach. We're talking about if the society or the family has lost hold on the children. Has the family lost the hold on the children? Now let's talk about children from broken homes, children whose parents are divorced. Do you think that has any impact on our children today?
The question again, please.
Children from divorced families, children from divorce that have whose parents are divorced. Do you think that has an impact on the child today?
Parents that are divorced,
yes.
If it has impact on the child. You see, every behavior of parents has effect on children. Like I always say, some of the things that guided me in my attitude and in my relationship with my spouse was the fact that I know that I'm a grown adult. I am formed already. And so, when we as grown adults, two adults, responsible adults, come together and say we want to get married, our action and behavior will definitely affect the children, the seeds that have been given to us. So whatever we do affects them. If we decide to stay together as one, affects the children. If we decide to live a peaceful life and a home of harmony and unity, of course we are raising children that will learn harmony, unity, peace, respect for others. But if we disrespect ourselves and we get to a point where we cannot resolve any issues and we decide to go our way, trust me, number one, we have become insensitive to the children that are brought to the world. If we do them along, if we do not let them understand, because sometimes we think, oh, the children will not understand, let's not tell them. What we are doing is creating a system and a structure that the child will grow up to believe that that is what life is all about. Parents come together, when they cannot, they divorce and they go their way. Grow up to feel that, okay, that is what it should be. Now, one of the effects it has on children is you put a lot of pressure on one parent to bring up that child.
Yes.
Now, this parent, first of all, is deal with the fact that someone I loved, or I once said I loved, is no more. We are both hurting each other. So I'm trying to deal with the fact, to the realization that I've lost love. I'm in a situation where I'm all alone. It's either I'm dealing with the psychological effect of, am I the cause of this broken home? I'm dealing with that, and then I'm coming to deal with the fact that I have to raise these children alone. Nobody's going to support me. This child is in that situation where, first of all, they are feeling that, am I the cause for my parents' divorce? First of all, they are dealing with that. Am I the cause? They are beginning to take responsibility for an action that is caused by their parents. Then they get to school, parents are talking about children, other children are talking about, oh, my parents. They cannot speak because they have just one parent, one parent at home who is dealing with the economic, social, emotional issues that they don't have time. You know, it's like when you have two parents, when one is not available, you go to the other. When one is too busy, you go to the other. When one refuses to answer the question, you go to the other. Now you don't have that leisure. You don't have that scenario anymore. So every time parents do things, you know, to each other, they should think of the children. What values are you teaching them? How are you considering their emotions?
Okay.
Are you considering their mental health? Are you considering them as children in the equation of divorce? So it has a lot of, if you're not careful, your child will grow to, it depends on what happens for that divorce. Your child will grow to see that as the norm. If it's an abusive home where the father is only beating the mother, the child will grow up to be aggressive in the process of being or defending the mother, or grow up to feel that to control a woman and put her in place, I have to beat to be in charge. So whatever we do, and I don't think divorce, except extreme cases of violence and all this, I preach separation. But if it's not resolvable, then we get to divorce. Then the children need to know. We need to carry them along so that they don't grow up with the wrong perspective. They don't grow up with the wrong values or notion about what marriage is. In a lot of divorce homes, that's where you see young girls and boys today saying, I'll just have my children. Divorce cases are the major perpetrators for baby mamas and baby papas we have today. Why should I stay with a man if I can just have my child alone? We are raising a generation of wrong values and alone right now. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be the father and the mother, because we all have different roles to play. in the life of the child. So what we're seeing in society today is as a result of parents not knowing how to deal with their emotions or personal issues, and knowing and understanding that whatever they do bears on the children. Being insensitive to those children that we're created, that have been given to us. Being so selfish. It's all about us, forgetting that the children that have been given to us, it is our responsibility to what it is to be good citizens or right and good people in society. So it affects a lot. But I would always say, except it's an extreme case of divorce, but whatever it is, remember that the child is an integral part of that family. Let them alone. Let them know what it is. Let's sit down as parents and say, this is what it is. Ask for the child's opinion. When we can resolve it, still create a comfortable and environment for that child to thrive, no matter what happens.
So you're saying that it is still very possible to raise a child. If two parents are divorced now, they can still co-parent and they can still raise a child that would add value to society. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that except you cannot live together, you still need to create a structure for that child to be healthy and wholesome.
All right. Thank you very much for that response. The Big Question is the program you're listening to right now on Women Radio WFM 91.7. The Big Question is where we discuss some proper solutions to issues affecting us as a nation and as citizens. Our topic for today is, has the family lost a hold on children? And my special guest is Okemote Olori, convener of Transformational Parenting Network, and she's also a parenting coach. Thank you so much for still being on the program with us this afternoon. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good. Now, I just want to go ahead and ask another question about how we can make amends. How do we raise children that can actually be upright and have high moral values in society? And what can the family do to have that hold back on their children so that they don't go out there and become a menace to society?
Okay, how can we raise children? How can we fix it? How can we deal with the decadence in society?
Yes.
It starts with the home. That's why the home is very important. It looks minute, it looks insignificant, but it is the most integral part of every society because every family makes a society. Okay, so as parents, we need to first of all transform ourselves. Know that life is evolving and change is important. The only thing that is constant in life is change. So when we find ourselves in an environment, knowing that raising these children these days is different from the way we are raised, we should first of all allow ourselves to go through that change and that transformation. Allow ourselves to renew our mind, come out from our default and begin to study, okay, what is it about the children of this generation that is from the way I was raised? So we parents should learn to start holding ourselves accountable because the children of these days are very critical. Like I said earlier on, they know what rights are. They know what injustice is. So a man beats a woman and you call it domestic violence and abuse. Okay? But when a parent beats a child, what do you call it? So these children also call it an abuse on their rights. No matter what you call it, whether you call it parenting. So we need to first of all begin to look at these things from this perspective and become accountable first to ourselves. The values we want to teach the children, we should first of all practice those values. Because children now, in those days, we can't speak. When I'm saying this, I'm talking about my generation.
Yes.
You dare not. When your parents say anything, you just say, yes, ma'am, whether you are pleased with it or not. But in this generation, things are not like that. They will ask you why. The why question is so important. In as much as we're teaching them to ask why, they will use us to practice the things we're teaching them to do outside. So they want to know from us first. So if we're able to answer their questions, then they go out with that confidence to face the world. Until we come to, first of all, be the and the practices of what they do, we're going to have a lot of problems. Secondly, we should understand that the social media is the biggest contender when it comes to our parenting. So what kind of exposure are we giving our children? When you give your child a spoon, are you teaching the child about the do's and don'ts and the ills and good in having a mobile phone that is connected to the internet? Are you teaching them? Are you practicing empathy, love in your home so that someone outside, when they find such people online, someone is not showing them more love than you? Are you having time for your child? Because it's, by statistics, children spend more time alone with others than they spend with us as parents. Beginning from when they go to school, they spend with others. When they come home, if you're not a stay-at-home parent, they spend it with your maid and others before you come back. And if you come back late, you don't even have time to know what the children have learned for that day and to be able to correct some of the notions that have been given to them. You find out that child statistically more time is on his own. So you need to be conscious about what books are they reading, what movies are they watching, what media, what music are they listening to. You just cannot allow your child consume just anything. So you need to be conscious about what they are consuming. You need to be mindful, knowing that the mind of a child is like a sponge that soaks in everything. And it soaks in so much that you cannot even see how much or what has been soaked in. So let's start from us as parents, first of all, transforming our mind, doing the right thing. And then when we start with ourselves, able to transform ourselves, if you can't do it, look for mentors, look for coaches. We're not too big to go and ask for help. If you don't know it, truly the children of this generation, there's so many things affecting them. The race from even the phones that they are holding is affecting the food they eat. The fast food they eat is affecting. A lot of things are changing. They are more knowledgeable and faster in learning than we are.
Yes.
So if we must meet up with them, we must learn to learn and relearn and unlearn to be able to connect with the children of this age.
Yes.
They are smart. As smart as a smartphone. Before they're asking you any question, they're going to Google to find out. Sometimes they're just asking you to know if you are abreast with what is happening in the world. So we need to up our game as parents, one. Number two, we need to connect with our children. We need to mind our communication. How do we communicate with our children? Are we communicating in a way that we can connect? Are we communicating with love, with empathy? Are we communicating by teaching or communicating by directing? Children of nowadays, if you say I command you, it doesn't work with them. The minute you say I command and directly I said because I'm saying, they will just raise up their defense mechanism. So you need to be able to understand their language. And it starts by you understanding the language. What is that language of your child? Some children, their love language is touch. Some is affirmation. Some of them is duty, helping them to do things. Once you are helping them to do things, they will open up to you. And they listen to you because they understand that you understand them. So we need to understand our children. We need to understand what makes them happy. And use such things as a connecting factor to communicate and to reach them. And then apart from communicating, we need to be able to fix around, we need to be able to pay attention to those who are around our children, especially their teachers. Every child wants to know that they matter to you as a parent, that they are important to you, that their issues are your issues, that their pain are your pain. And it starts with how much are you involved in their schoolwork? How much do you know their teachers? How do you come for their parents' teachers' day? Do you encourage them to be involved in activities? How much do you help to build them when they have assignments in school? So when you can be involved in their social life, do you know their friends? Do you know the people that make them happy? Do you know what their best color is? Do you know their best movie? Do you know them at all? If you can know your child, you are able to connect with them, then they are free to trust you to guide them and nurture them. So if we can do some of these things I've mentioned, we can fix it. If you do yours at your home level, I do mine, and Lavada does his. When our children are meeting, then we know that we are creating a structure, a system and a society that has been well nurtured from home. But if we don't have those values,
Yes.
we fight. We disrespect ourselves as elders, as neighbors, as seniors, as elders, as parents, as spouse. Then we're teaching our children don't disrespect others. Come on, what are you trying to say?
Well, with everything you have said so far, it's very, very obvious that parenting is not a piece of cake.
It is not.
You just cannot decide to just get pregnant anyhow or have kids. If you're going to have a child, you have to be ready to. You have to make sure you're ready to take on the responsibilities that come along with it. Because
you have to.
Yes.
Like you said, even if you don't have a spouse, then you have to learn at least the male figure in the lives of your children. It could be your brother, it could be your father, but let it be those people who will not judge you for being a single parent.
Wow. Well, thank you so
Who will
much.
not judge you, who will understand with you, who will empathize with you, and are ready to help see that you raise a wholesome child.
Well, we cannot finish everything we need to talk about today because it's a whole lot more that we still need to talk about. But we're out of time on the program this afternoon. But I want to thank you so much for being on the program with us this afternoon. You have spoken so passionately, so well. And you've really, really equipped us with so much knowledge about how the family can have a hold on the children nowadays in our society. Thank you so much for coming on the program today. We really do appreciate you very, very much. And I definitely would like to have you back on the program. Definite for a fact.
Thank you. It'll be such an honor. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Ma. I appreciate you being on the program. Thank you. Yes, so that will be it on The Big Question this afternoon. Remember, The Big Question is a program where we provide solutions to issues affecting us as a nation and as citizens. My special guest has been Olori Okemote. She is a parenting coach. Yes, and she's also the convener of Transformation Parenting Network. Transformational Parenting Network. It's really a pleasure to have on the program. My name is Timi Tokwe Oluleye.
WFM 91.7.